that we could to juggle costs, cut costs, in many cases manage inventories. And that's been a very difficult juggling act as we've talked to our clients around the country. But the thing that I'm also aware of is we try to decide what is a good topic. We have workforce briefings with our clients all throughout the year. We said, what's the most important topic that we could talk about in the first quarter? And it's basically how we can stay union free, because as we've been fighting to stay in business, there is another group who's been working day in and day out to try to compromise our business. And those are the people that would choose to basically want to come into your company and help your employees make decisions better. And that's certainly what none of us in this room or joining over the airways want. And that's why we've turned to Jim Gray to be here this morning to talk to us about how we can remain union free. So I will be excited to introduce you in just a moment to Jim Gray. Just quickly, if I could, doing some, hopefully some housekeeping here. Okay. For those of you who are here this morning, this is a SHRM qualified meeting, so you have a code in there that you can use, and hopefully that will help you toward your educational goals. And this is just a little bit about MAU. MAU was founded in 1973, and primarily what we do is we work mainly with manufacturing and service companies to help them design workforces. So these are some of our clients, and hopefully you recognize some of them. Some of them are joining us on the phone or in this room. But the way that I like to describe our company is you might not know our company, but you know the people that we do business with. And we think we do business with some of the best companies in the world. Again, just a sampling of various of our clients. What do we do? And my comments are very brief this morning. We basically design workforce solutions for companies. And in doing that, we try to basically design multiple levels in the workforce of how you can use full-time employees, how you can use what many companies have used before, temporary employees. But we think a lot of the greatest savings and flexibility come in how outsourcing solutions can be designed in the use of carving out non-core and core services and letting a third party manage different parts of the company. And that's basically what our signature service is. And then the other thing some of our international clients have come to depend on is how we can also help them manage their co-op programs and their intern programs. So, next I would like to introduce Jim Gray, if I don't go too far here. And I guess the most important thing for me is Jim is a friend of mine. And I've known Jim since back in the late 70s, early 80s, and he and I were in Augusta, Georgia together. And that's really where I became familiar with Jim. And the thing that impresses me the most about Jim is his integrity. And when you meet Jim, you know, number one, he's a professional in what he does. And this morning you'll get a sense for that. But if you have a need going forward to have someone that you can trust to come beside you and help your company remain union free, you cannot pick a better person anywhere in the country. So I'm just pleased this morning. He has credentials that are everywhere, and I don't need to go over those. They're in your information. But would you help me welcome this morning our speaker, my friend, Jim Gray.
Thank you, Randy. Good morning, everybody. This topic, I think some of you in the audience have seen pieces of this presentation. I don't know about those of you online. You are about to hear a 4-hour workshop compressed into about 30 minutes. So you'll hear this 78 RPM version of this. And for those of you under 40 who have no idea what that means, see somebody at your table that might be a little bit older than my generation. How this all came about. Some of you know the challenges. When you're operating in perhaps an environment that has both union and union-free operations, sometimes you may be challenged or questioned as to how do you justify spending money on maybe challenging a union campaign, possibly just programs to retain your union-free presence. And there's really not a lot of information out there to help you justify why you want to stay union-free, other than HR people typically tend to look to sort of the intuitive aspect of wanting to retain a one-on-one relationship, hopefully employees that want to remain pretty much independent, but that may not be enough. As Randy pointed out earlier, our challenge on the cost arena right now, we start to think, well, is there a cost to a union presence? I know in some operations, you can always point to an operation with a union presence that may be very productive, maybe a very profitable enterprise. And so when you look at that and say, well, golly, maybe there isn't much there. And then on the other hand, for years, there's been this 25 to 30% additional cost. I'm not sure what percentage that is of, but it's still a factor that's out there. I tried to find where the origin of that factor came from, and I know I saw it in a Jackson Lewis publication, and they quoted Leroy Troy, who was an author, and Leroy told me that that's not his number, and so we don't really know where it came from. I stumbled upon something sort of interesting 10 years ago. The company I used to work for went into a merger. And in this merger, in a business that was very much in North America over capacity, we knew as a result of the merger there would be some downsizing or some plant shutdowns that would occur. So our cost analysts went through a pretty intensive analysis to determine, we've got product considerations and geographic considerations. But the outcome of around a 14-plant facility was that we were going to have about 6 operations shut down, 5 of which were unionized operations, and the overwhelming balance of the operations were going to be union-free. Well, in my due diligence, I sort of raised the flag and said, we've got to be careful here. You cannot shut down a facility just because there's a union presence. There has to be some factors involved that show there's a cost justification behind it. So we did the digging. And the one union-free facility that shut down, the similar product type was in another facility that made the same product, also union-free, so that was sort of off to the side. But we did find